Did you love hour number one? You're going to love hour number two. Even more, it's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Lisi. It's SportsGrid College Football today on a Saturday. 1 hour away from kickoff. The biggest names, the biggest prop bets, and the best bets you need. Not me, Joe. You need.
Me need.
Yeah, you.
All right, I'm on them today. I'm on them. I
Kent
like
State,
a lot of
3.5.
You and the Kent State. Yeah?
I mean, everybody's watching.
What game out of the big
watching.
three has you excited? Well, obviously the Miami.
Come on, now, it's Miami, yeah.
Are you loaded in the props in that yet, or no?
I love the over. I'm trying to decide
you really like the over.
Yeah, I do. Well, by the way, we're going to get into this game right now, but it seems low. Why though? Like these two teams can move the football.
But I just worry about these rivalry games where you think one way and you're going to get a wide open offense. Miami's defense, I think, is really good. And again, if Florida State can't run the football, then that's a cause of concern. Now, I mean, they're averaging 336
mobile quarterback
heading into this matchup. I do like Castellanos because, again, knowing that they lost last week and seeing that he put that team in a position to pull it out and Deuce Robinson didn't catch the football, I think he looks to take this game over.
Now, let's center this game again because we talked about in hour number one. We're going to get from much more from a prop perspective now and some bets on this game, but just setting the table on it again. 4.5 is a side for this game for Miami at FanDuel. 4 is at other outlets. You see the graphic on the screen. We got 4.5. The total, 53.5. But, Joe, on the move now at some places, 54.5 is the total, and I agree with that. But if we are looking from the game perspective itself, Miami comes in undefeated. Miami comes in off of a bye week. Last time we saw Florida State, Joe, was on the road, not being able to stop Virginia. So the leveling up of competition for Florida State. Obviously, Miami's a better team than Virginia, but this is one of those games where Florida State can't afford a second loss if you want to win the SEC, right? That's big.
Right, it is. And thinking about this, they were in a position. It's not like they got blown out last week. They go to double overtime. They can't pull it out. They've won 3 of the last 4 in the series by 17.3 points per game. Miami did pick this victory up last year, 36-14. But this is a team that's confident in Florida State. And when you think about the last big game that they had, Alabama, they were up. The crowd was into that game. You're going to get Florida State's best effort in this matchup. I expect Gus Malzahn to throw the kitchen sink at Mario Cristobal and the defensive staff. So, again, can Miami respond? The biggest question I have, and I know he's a veteran, but I keep going back to Carson Beck's road performances with the Georgia Bulldogs last year. You could say it's an outlier, right? Because in 2023, he threw 24 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, but 3 critical road performances. Texas, Ole Miss, and Alabama last year. Carson Beck did not perform well in the passing game, and they're going to need him to step up tonight.
Now, we keep talking about the running game and going up against Miami. Maybe it's not as effective as Florida State would like it to be. So let's focus on the quarterback position, Joe, here. Tommy Castellanos, 184.5 is his live passing prop right now. If Florida State wins this football game, can he stay under that price point?
Yes, because if his numbers, I believe, 42.5 in the rushing attack, I did take the over. But, again, he could have 80, 90, 100 yards on the ground, especially if they play man-to-man coverage. And if Florida State runs the football with Sawchuk and those running backs, they're going to sustain drives. He might not have to do a whole lot in the passing attack. So, again, could he get to 170, 175 and still rush for 100 yards? Absolutely, and they win the game. If for him to get through that total, it's up to Beck. Beck has to push the tempo in this matchup and say, game on, we're going to light your defense up. Let's see if you can match us score for score.
Mid-230s there for Carson Beck, actually around 235.5, depending on where you're shopping at this point. So when we take a look at those rushing props, we know, Joe, that we have a mobile quarterback, and that's where I'm going to start again with Tommy Castellanos. 42.5.
Yeah.
When you talk about like the great indicators of football games where how can you win outside of the numbers, it's your quarterback making plays off schedule. What does Castellanos have to do, particularly in the running game, Joe, if they want to be effective?
Well, again, I think he's got to. They have to have design RPOs for him, and second, don't get into long third downs. Because if you watch the overtime period and you watch the fourth quarter play out, when he was in 3rd and 12 and 3rd and 15, Virginia brought blitzes, and he did struggle. He made some great plays, the touchdown to tie the game up at 35. But is that going to be consistent in this matchup if they're bringing all-out pressure and rolling Tommy Castellanos out? No, that's why 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, that's up to Miami to get, to really stuff him and put him in those long third downs. So, again, I think you have to have design rollouts early on to break contain and see if he can put some pressure out on there and utilize it with his legs. Again, it comes down to the offensive line protecting him. And I believe in Gus Malzahn in this situation, big-time game. Which staff do you buy into more? I know you're a Miami fan, but up until this point, Cristobal, he got the week 1 performance.
Ready for this.
You think he's ready?
He's
on a
ready.
road type of performance?
He's got 3 timeouts. He knows when to use them. He knows when to be aggressive.
I give the edge to Malzahn and Norvell
out
here.
at the spot. We'll see what we get out of Carson Beck in this game, Joe. But we have some talented wide receivers to deal with as well. The 3 top guys in the odds market for yardage in this game. C.J. Daniels, Miami Hurricanes, 50.5 yards. Malachi Toney up to 57.5 yards. And there's Deuce Robinson for Florida State, Joe, at 64.5. I think there's going to be points in this game, which means big-time plays. And I look toward those wide receivers, Joe. They got to get it done.
Yeah, Tony's the guy. I mean, Toney, 22 receptions, 268, and a touchdown. Daniels is more of a possession guy. He could take the top off the defense, but Toney's the home run hitter. I think when you look at the Florida State side, obviously Deuce Robinson is the guy that stands out, 62.5. Again, he was the big target for Thomas Castellanos, and in a big game like this, you believe that this is all pure number ones. I'm not going secondary wide receivers today. I think it's
Squirrel White.
He's probably going to have a cheap number today. He had
19.5.
That's
Joe,
what he had week 1.
I left him. Alton, 30, 40, 50 on a big game, a big break game.
Squirrel White could be an option just because if you're Miami, you take away Deuce Robinson. Again, Squirrel White against Alabama had a 40-yarder, right? So that's what Gus Malzahn did in that matchup. He utilized a secondary option. So let's not forget the running backs coming out of the backfield. Fletcher from Miami and Florida State's running backs as well. They created separation, getting them mismatched on linebackers. You could have chunk plays. If we're talking quarterbacks, which one has better success through the air? It's got to be Beck.
Pay dirt picks, baby. Who's getting in the end zone today? If I would have told you, Joe, 1, 2, 3, 4, the first 4 guys listed. Mark Fletcher Jr., Miami. Malachi Toney, Miami. C.J. Daniels, Miami. Jamar Brown, Miami. Before we get a Gavin Sawchuk here for FSU. Who's hitting pay dirt in Miami, Florida State, Joe?
I would bet on Castellanos. Again,
plus 120, plus money.
Plus money, just because, again, you're talking about a guy that wants to take the game over, and he played lights out last week, and they lost. His receivers let him down in a rivalry game at home in a primetime atmosphere. He could break contain. He's going to look to score tonight.
Miami, Joe, number 1 in points per game, number 1 in yards per game, number 1 in third down conversions. That defense can play some football, but I think, again, Gus Malzahn, you're right, might have something up his sleeve. Let's focus here on Miami the rest of the way, Joe. Notre Dame, top 10 team, beat them this season. South Florida, ranked team, beat them to start the season. Florida State is a ranked team. If they can beat them after this, Joe, Louisville, Stanford, SMU, Syracuse, North Carolina State, Virginia Tech, and Pitt. Nobody ranked on the way out. Is this their last hurdle where you can accept the fact that they might be unbeaten on the season?
Yeah, they should be.
Yeah.
I mean, think about last year, though. Syracuse and Georgia Tech, right? Both of those
I mean, why
games.
can't Haynes King sit that one
Louisville
out
has been a problem, a thorn in their side. Last year, they won it by basically double digits.
Louisville.
Yeah, they pushed them 2 years ago. They were catching 1 point. Miami was and lost in South Beach. So Louisville's never a layup, especially if they're undefeated after today and beating Virginia. So, again, yeah, I mean, 11-1, Donnie, at worst, I would think. That's the problem. I mean, you can't be 10-2 with this schedule. You really can't. I'm sorry. When you get the week
Mark
1
Richt
victory over Mark Richt finished 10-3.
Yeah.
You know, and think about this. After last year, there's only 2 double-digit winning seasons for the Hurricanes since 2003. One came last year. The other one was with Richt in 2017.
By the way, if Florida State wins this game over Miami, there's some smooth sailing because, oh, no, they got to play Clemson. How good's Clemson?
Yeah.
Oh, no, they got to play Florida. Does Billy Napier ever make it to the final game
might not
of
be
the
there.
season? We're going to flip it over to some SEC action next. Alabama taking on Vanderbilt. Who would have thought, Joe, that that's going to be a major game in the SEC? And if Vandy wins that game, vault them into the top 10, top 5? Come on back.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
this event, people from Amazon and Alexa made it very clear that in addition to Sports Highlight coming up, you will be able to perhaps buy sports tickets to events, buy movie tickets, arrange fantasy football teams, and I think somewhere down the road, maybe not too far down the road, given the NBA on Prime deal, they will allow sports betting on the television set through Alexa Plus.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
What worries me, for the future, for the rest of this season for the 49ers, is Christian McCaffrey, because all these other guys are out. This guy is getting more workload than anybody else in the NFL. The catches, the carries, the blocking, the chip blocks, the protection. He is just being worked over, and I don't think that is, real good for the 49ers.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Getting a lot of optimism here, which I don't know about. This isn't a 21-year-old football player, a devastating knee injury that basically blew, the kneecap and also multiple ligaments. And I was like, surgery, awesome, be back for next year. He might be back for next year, but the Tyreek Hill we're used to, Joe, electric on the field where nobody can catch him. People are going to be catching him now, Joe.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
60,000 drunk New Yorkers who were there from 5 in the morning to 7 p.m., who dropped a house mortgage on a ticket to watch the United States team miss every putt that they can possibly miss, and you think someone's not going to get pissed off and curse people out? Wah! The golf fan wasn't civil. Wah!
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
SEC. That's where we're going right now. It's Alabama, and it's Vanderbilt. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Lisi. It's the SportsGrid Network. It's college football today, the place to be. And who would have thought that you might be looking at a 2-game win streak for Vanderbilt over Alabama? And we're going to get into some prop bets in this game, Joe, but please tell me, Vandy rolls into Bama, double-digit dogs, and beats them. Do we have to completely configure our mind around what Vanderbilt actually is, and could they legitimately be a top 5 football team?
Well, Diego Pavia was asked at the start of the year, what's the team goal? National championship. And I have no problem with that. And he got ripped for that.
Yeah.
But here they are, 5-0, and they have an opportunity to be 6-0 and knock off Bama, and maybe knock out Bama from college football playoff contention. I mean, it's crazy to say, but if they have 2 losses, they still have to play LSU. They still have to play some, tough games down the stretch. Auburn, rivalry game. You can never say never. They play South Carolina, so you don't know what's going to happen down the road for Kalen DeBoer, and that pressure that builds if they lose this game. That's why I say Vanderbilt's playing with house money. They're averaging 49 points per game, Donnie.
Steam's hitting it, Joe. We're up to 12.5 now as a side. 12. Everybody loves Bama. Come on.
Well, here's the thing. I like the over a lot. I can't believe the over's not moving, because here's my thing. If you buy into Alabama and you believe that Ty Simpson's the guy, he threw for 276 last week, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions, looking like a Heisman Trophy. If Alabama scores 30, you think they're going to stop because of last year? They're going to try and score 40. If they score 40, they're going to try and score 50. So tell me how we don't get to 56.5 when we had 75 points play out with revenge for Alabama and knowing how gutty Diego Pavia is and this offense. I don't see, but the fact that we're moving the line on the side and this total is just saying, the same at 56.5 is very intriguing to me.
Yeah, the offenses should be able to move. We went over the first hour, Joe, looking at Vanderbilt's offense from game to game. Like, they can move the football and put it up, and so can Alabama. So we should have some good temperatures down there, some good weather to get those scoring up, which then brings us into some of these prop bets, Joe. I love Ty Simpson. Now, facing the fact of I'm the starting quarterback, we lost at FSU, and everybody was ready to bail. 3 straight good games, which includes a win down in Athens between the hedges. Not something a lot of college football teams can do. One of the longest win streaks in the country at home was snapped last week. So Ty Simpson coming into this ball game, Joe, You see that? It's 293.5 on that graphic. I'm actually looking at FanDuel right now, Joe, down to 283.5. Ty Simpson's game today is what?
Passing 325 plus. Again, he just signed a deal with Gatorade before.
Whoa, did he?
Last week.
Wow.
An NIL deal with Gatorade. They also signed Nussmeier prior to the game against Clemson. So they are onto something there. They're scouting, right? He has a huge performance against Georgia. But again, I still think they push tempo here. Why would you stop and say we want to get into a lower scoring game? If you have a hot quarterback, a guy that hasn't thrown an interception and completing almost 70% of his passes with two big play wide receivers in Ryan Williams and Bernard, why would you stop that? Why would you slow that momentum? So, again, Donnie, 325 plus. This has to be a breakout performance. Now, I know Milroe struggled last year with interceptions and didn't have a great performance. But again, Ty Simpson is a better pure pocket passer. This should be one of the better performances of the day. Again, 325, 350 is not out of the realm of possibility here.
Let me ask you this question about Diego Pavia. We know the guy's a pretty good quarterback on the college football landscape. And if you think there's going to be a lot of points here, let's just say 60, right? Sitting at 56.5. That means Vanderbilt's going to have to move the football. Pavia's 206.5 in the air. That's his number. Over 1.5 touchdown passes, Joe, is plus 135. Like, are we telling you that they're going to score a lot of points for Vanderbilt? Diego Pavia's going to throw for 180 and one score? He's got to throw for 2 scores, right?
It's possible, but again, does he have, how many does he have on the ground? I think that's, here's the problem. We're talking about an Alabama defense that gave up 6.7 yards per carry against Georgia, 227 on the ground. We had Coach Bowden say it's a different rushing attack, but they're still giving up $160 to opposing offenses. They got ripped by 230, a similar offense Florida State runs to what we see Vanderbilt. Mobile quarterback, they like to utilize a lot of misdirection, and they rush for 230, 240 on that front seven. We get a similar performance today. It's going to be Pavia on the ground, and those running backs, maybe he throws for 1, but if he has 2 touchdowns on the ground and it accounts for 3, that's all it takes to get the cover.
Running backs here, Joe, which includes Diego Pavia on the ground. 53.5 for Diego Pavia. For Cedric Alexander, 41.5. Jam Miller played last week going up against a tough defense in Georgia. Maybe more running lanes today, Joe. He's up to 63.5. How are you playing some of these ground attack guys?
I would take Pavia on the ground. Now, you always got to worry about sacks. But again, that's always a problem. We know that. But again, Pavia's game, right? He's going to break contain. If he smells the goal line, he's going to go for it. So I like Pavia over the 53.5 rushing. I would take a shot on Jam Miller. Just because, again, they didn't have a hint of a rushing attack last week, only averaged 3.7 yards per carry. But if we believe that Alabama has the success that we both feel Ty Simpson will have, that'll open up Jam Miller. All it takes is one run to take it to the house. So 63.5, I would take a shot with Miller 70+ today.
Let's take a look here, and we'll focus just on singular teams here. Alabama will start with Joe. Wide receiver position, Ryan Williams, Isaiah Horton, Jeremy Bernard, and also Lotzier Brooks. 25.5, 67.5, 48.5, and 65.5 respectively. If you're going to play an Alabama wide receiver, who is that today?
Bernard, Bernard is the catalyst for that offense. Ty Simpson goes to him early and often, and I understand Ryan Williams has better ability, you could say, but he's been the most consistent for me. Early on, he's been a home run hitter, anytime touchdown. He might get 2 in this game. So, again, if we're talking most receptions, most receiving yards, I do feel that it's Bernard over Ryan Williams in this matchup.
I see your bet card right there. I think, what would be awesome? Ty Simpson throws 3 touchdowns but doesn't score on the ground. Still 3 touchdowns, Joe, though, right? Does that count for you?
Yeah, if he gets it for you, I still, but I don't mind. But plus 155 for Simpson, I can't get the value out.
Get the end zone. What's it now? Is that a tush push, or is that I'm going to scramble?
No, I
from
think it could be from the 5-yard line. Again, I think both quarterbacks will take over the game. I do like Ty Simpson anytime touchdown. I like Pavia though for yards.
Let's do quickly here Vanderbilt's pass catchers, Joe. You take a look at Stowers, Richardson, Sherrill, and Alexander. All lower numbers here. Stowers with 52.5. Somebody's got to catch passes if it's going to score 60 points.
I like Richardson. Stowers is good, though. He's got the most receptions, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns. Richardson, though, for me, is another guy that has stepped up. Again, how do they utilize them? They utilize both of them, too, in terms of rush yards and reverses. So keep an eye out for that. But I would take a shot Richardson over Stowers in this ballgame.
Now, look, Vanderbilt's a good football team. Kalen DeBoer loses this game, Joe. Is there a chance he loses his job?
No, not now. Not now. They would wait again. They would wait until they're out of contention for a college
what's
football
left for
playoff.
Alabama? He lost to Florida State, which wasn't supposed to be great this year.
Donnie,
and also
we're
you lose
seeing
this
everybody beat up each other. That's why he's on the hot seat. I like Vandy with the points.
Talking about a hot seat. Billy Napier on deck, people. Let's talk SEC action.
Now let's get to a player who was taken in the first round of every fantasy football draft, and thus far, has produced the least points, George. I mean, I thought you'd just take a rookie running back in the first round and you get yourself 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns. But Boise State's Ashton Genty for the Las Vegas Raiders, we got out of excuses, right? Like at this point, it's, they got to give him the ball more. They got to do this. They got to do that. I mean, George, does this guy look like Barry Sanders? Like that was the comparisons? Like I haven't seen any of that yet.
Our panicometer, all right, doesn't go high enough here. All right, because this is, I mean, come on, we're freaking out here. I don't think it's all Genty, by the way. He has more yards after contact than before contact. That pretty much lets you know what the problem is there. All right, the Raiders needed a running back, sure, but they need an offensive line. All right, they need a couple of offensive linemen. It's not something you can fix in one off season here. So yeah, we're gonna eat it with Genty. He's not gonna be worth the first round pick in fantasy. It's just not. Not this year. In future years, we'll see here, but not this year. The offensive line is not very good. The defense is not very good, so they have to throw the ball more in the second because they're trailing every game. So that's hurting us as well here. So, yeah, like I said, the panicometer, it doesn't go high enough for this, okay? I am more than concerned. I am not calm. I am critical. I am flipping out.
Isn't there going to be a time where he just breaks it free? George, like, what you said is not false. But I think there's a point being missed here. Why has he not broken free one time the whole season? Not once. To just run away. Like he's Devin Singletary right now. No offense to Devin Singletary, but that's who he is.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Oh, we're rolling on hour number 2. We love this stuff here. The biggest games, the biggest bets, the biggest prop bets. That's what we do in hour number 2, and it starts down in Florida, Joe. Texas and Florida. We thought maybe a coronation season for Texas. Roll all the way through the SEC, win the SEC championship, head into the college football playoff, and crown your quarterback, Arch Manning, Heisman Trophy potential. I haven't seen it just yet right now, and I don't know if we get that today. Setting the table for this one, Joe. Texas, 7.5-point favorite. No longer. We're down to 4.5. A total in this game opened up at 51.5. No longer. We're down to 42.5. Joe, why the difference here? Why?
Well, again, Billy Napier's on the hot seat. And two, when you look at this team as a whole, both of these teams, they're struggling with offensive consistency. Florida more, but Florida hasn't been able to give you anything. 16 points against USF, 10 against LSU, 7 against Miami. We talk about the third down conversions, 30% on the year conversion rate, one of the worst in college football right now, and 0-13 against the Hurricanes 2 weeks ago. So they need a better effort today. So, but again, when we're seeing the over adjustment, I think people are saying this is it for Billy Napier. It's do or die. I'm going to take a shot. We're going to see, smart money come in, and it's a similar performance to what we saw. I keep going back last week, Notre Dame and Arkansas. Sam Pittman on the hot seat. They open as 6.5-point dogs. They bet it down to 4.5. This line, though, Sunday night was 7.5 in favor of Texas. They won this game 49-17 last year. Lagway didn't play. It's a tough cap. I like the total. I keep going back to the total, 42.5. If you're Texas, and I know scheme-wise, I put up 49 points last year, there should be nothing stopping me in this matchup. And if I have a Heisman Trophy guy like Arch Manning, he better show it. To get through 211 against this second, I mean, come on.
We see, because Arch Manning, we've talked about him multiple times this season, and I've made some decent money off him just throwing because bad situations where you try to build him up and he throws touchdown passes, it happens. Well, this isn't a bad situation. This is a really good defense and on the road, Joe. And for a guy that you thought might be the number 1 overall pick in the draft and be a Heisman Trophy runaway, to have a 211.5 total, and then you take a look at what's his touchdown passes, over 1.5 plus 128. Come on now.
It's a wet track. I get that. I keep going back.
How much rain do we expect, by the way?
I looked at it, 54% precipitation, scattered showers. What does that mean? It's Florida. I mean, you get this all the time. So again, should that limit Arch Manning from putting up 250 in this game? No. But again, Nussmeier struggled. Byron Brown struggled. Again, that's going to be the matchup. How good is Florida's defense? Is this one of the top 5 defenses in all of college football? Statistically, they're only giving up 173 passing yards per game. Texas's defense is legit.
Really good.
Giving up 7 points per game. So at the end of the day, Texas bought athletes, right? NIL is flowing into Austin.
Yep.
You have the better athletes. Now you have to show it.
Give me the under on Lagway today, Joe. You say, well, Donnie, that doesn't even correlate. How can you say Florida's going to hang close if DJ Lagway doesn't throw for over, let's just say, 200 yards at this point? I got his under in this game. But his touchdown prop, Joe, and sometimes you're like, well, I'm not paying that price. A half at minus 225. If DJ Lagway throws for 178 yards and no touchdowns, we just fire everybody here.
His numbers
He's got to be able to perform today. I got him under.
He's under the season total. So, again, something doesn't correlate. Lagway's trailing the whole game. They're only averaging basically 200 passing yards per game. But you go back to the games, he had 61 passing yards against the Hurricanes. I mean, from 61 yards against one of the top
defenses. Do they have a backup? Is there any thought of he's getting benched, or just Napier's I'm riding and that's it?
You have to live and die with DJ Lagway right now.
Where's Rashada when you need him?
But if they lose this game and he performs 3 interceptions, he throws for 110 yards, they're going to clean staff. I believe that he'll be gone potentially after this game, especially if it's embarrassing. You need to show out. But again, I think they're live.
Yeah.
I think this is the one spot I'm willing to back Florida. They've performed well. Keep an eye out for Wingo for Texas. He's been a go-to guy for Arch Manning. And again, Manning through the air should be able to get to 2.25, 250 in this matchup.
Now, talking about Contravian Wisner, Joe, on the ground, 63.5 today. What's your attack for him?
Well, again, when you look at the last 2 years for Texas, when they win games, they're running the football. So for me, Wisner's got to get to potentially 70, 80 plus. When you look at just Miami's ability to pound the rock, 2 weeks ago with Mark Fletcher had a dynamic performance. It's got to be the physical offensive line. Again, this should be a 35-point performance for Texas. But again, that means Wisner's got to eat it on the ground. So I like him over 63.5. I like him to maybe potentially score a couple touchdowns as well.
How about this prop bet, Joe? Florida to not score a touchdown plus 950. Is there a chance that Florida does not score?
No.
They barely scored against Miami.
I'm on the over, so I can't bet.
But come on now. How about 45-0 Texas? Bang. 45-6 Texas.
We get 55-0.
How about
like
4 field goals out of Florida to help you out, Joe? Come on now.
All right, they got to give me something. I mean, no touchdowns. I mean, it's not a bad bet, 10-1.
How about a bad bet here on the Heisman Trophy race at this point? Mendoza, he was on top of the world last week. He's no longer on top of the world. Let's talk Heisman Trophy. Carson Beck. Joe loves him. So do I. We'll be right back.
Now let's get to a player who was taken in the first round of every fantasy football draft, and thus far has produced the least points, George. I mean, I thought you'd just take a rookie running back in the first round and you get yourself 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns. But Boise State's Ashton Genty for the Las Vegas Raiders, we got out of excuses, right? At this point, it's, they got to give him the ball more. They got to do this. They got to do that. I mean, George, does this guy look like Barry Sanders? That was the comparisons? I haven't seen any of that yet.
Our panicometer, it doesn't go high enough here. All right, because this is, come on, we're freaking out here. I don't think it's all Genty, by the way. He has more yards after contact than before contact. That pretty much lets you know what the problem is there. All right, the Raiders needed a running back, sure, but they need an offensive line. All right, they need a couple of offensive linemen. It's not something you can fix in one off season here. So yeah, we're gonna eat it with Genty. He's not gonna be worth the first round pick in fantasy. Just not. Not this year. In future years, we'll see here, but not this year. The offensive line is not very good. The defense is not very good, so they have to throw the ball more in the second mix. They're trailing every game, so that's hurting us as well here. So, like I said, the panicometer, it doesn't go high enough for this, okay? I am more than concerned. I am not calm. I am critical. I am flipping out.
Isn't there going to be a time where he just breaks it free? George, what you said is not false. But I think there's a point being missed here. Why has he not broken free one time the whole season? Not once. To just run away. Like he's Devin Singletary right now. No offense to Devin Singletary, but that's who he is.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
The Heisman Trophy, one of the most prestigious awards in all of sports. We gave it out to the best quarterback, it feels like, typically in NCAA action. It's Donnie Rightside, it's Joe Lisi. And at this point, we're going to focus on some of those quarterbacks today. Big game environment. Now, I'm going to ask you in just a few moments about Diego Pavia, but that's not where the focus is. You're taking a look at you need big-time statistics. You need big-time football games, and maybe a nice resurrection story. We're talking about Alabama. Lose game number 1, pile up the victories as you go throughout the SEC. That focus now is on Ty Simpson. Did you know, Joe, second in line now at a plus 950 price here to win the Heisman Trophy? Expectations for Ty Simpson today, the rest of the year for you.
Again, he's going to be a front runner barring a loss. I think that's the biggest thing. When you snap a 33-game home winning streak to one of the best teams in the nation last week in a primetime performance, put up 276 yards, 2 touchdowns,
Said he was a gladiator.
and no interceptions, and you dominate Kirby Smart, you're going to be recognized. And that's the biggest thing, I think, when you look at Ty Simpson. 11 touchdowns, no interceptions, plays for a recognizable brand, a team that many picked to win the national championship this year. He's had a better body of work than Arch Manning up until this point. So that has been the problem when you just look at some of the other Pavia and some of these other players. Can they maintain the winning down the stretch will ultimately dictate whether or not they win the Heisman. And I'll go back to your guy last year. Cam Ward probably would have won the Heisman if they don't drop those games to G-Tech or Syracuse.
Brutal at the end of the season. Wasn't even his fault either. The defense was just so bad, but sometimes you get lumped into your team itself, Joe. But let's go to the other side of the equation here in that Alabama and Vandy game today. Diego Pavia. Now, you said, well, he can't win it here. I remember, a little bit over a decade ago? Johnny Manziel walking into Alabama, stunning a national audience, and basically winning the Heisman in that football game. Tell me about Diego Pavia, 17-1, walks on that field of Bryant-Denny, leaves the winner.
Yeah, I mean, and they have, if they get the victory today, Donnie, he'll be, I guarantee you, maybe 2-1 to win the Heisman because, again, they have the marquee win over Alabama. They're at the halfway point. They'd be undefeated. He still has to play a team at LSU that's not playing well right now. He's going to get another top 25 victory potentially down the stretch. And they have a give-me. They can afford to lose a game and still have Diego Pavia in the college football playoff. If Vanderbilt knocks off Alabama today, this goes so much in the Heisman race, especially if he performs. If it's Stowers and Richardson and Pavia's puts up 160 and throws 2 interceptions, but they win, he's still going to be recognized, but he's not going to be 17-1. He puts up 300 total yards of offense. Forget it. He could be the front runner.
Joe, talk to me about this guy, too, because, week to week, the evolution of the odds market is always fun because these kids are playing every week, and you don't have 52 games to let this sort of level out. You only have a short period of time. But last week we were talking about, hey, who's this Fernando Mendoza guy at a plus 850 price? I look at him this week, Joe. He's down to 14-1. Why no love within 1 week here?
Because they didn't play. Because that's why they don't play a game until Oregon. But that's what it is, Donnie.
Easy.
Yeah, Donnie. The pick of the week 2 weeks ago was Illinois. Everybody loved Illinois plus the points, right?
Yep.
They go into Bloomington. They get boat raced by 53. He completes 91% of his passes. So people say, oh, you know what? I'm buying into Fernando Mendoza, and he's doing great. 15 touchdowns on the year, but can you sustain that? It's Indiana. It's not a notable market that if you don't have top 10 performances each and every week against top-ranked competition, you're going to fall off the radar. That's why teams in the SEC and Big Ten, these players have life, even though they may be 20 or 25-1 or 50-1.
Yep, just have one big performance in one of those big games. It could certainly help you out there, Joe. We typically talk about this as a quarterback award, right? Well, then you take a look at the best wide receiver in college football, Jeremiah Smith of Ohio State. He sits at 10-1. It's not like he's 40-1, Joe. He's 10-1.
I watched that game.
But I don't feel like at the end of the day he's going to have enough. Ohio State's fantastic, Joe. They might run the table. They might be the number 1 team in the country. I just feel like a quarterback is always destined to win this because we equate, unless the wide receiver goes 10 for 195 and against Penn State and whoever they might be playing as a ranked opponent the rest of the way. It's always the quarterback for me.
It is, but you think about Devontae Smith 3-4 years ago. He had huge performances down the stretch, right? 200-yard performances. Now, he played great against Washington, one of the better defenses in the Big Ten. The defense is still getting all the recognition, but if you start to see now today against Minnesota, 10 receptions, $155, 2 touchdowns. They play Penn State later in the year, depending upon where Penn State's ranked. He puts up 12 receptions for 200. All of a sudden now you're building up steam at the end of the regular season. And if you get the rivalry game where, let's say it's another ranked opponent in Michigan, and he single-handedly takes that game, he's just got to stay, Donnie, in that 10-1, 15-1 area where he can make a move where if he catches fire, you could catch. If he was like 50-1, 60-1, he'd have no shot. But the fact that he's right around 10-1 right now, he's just got to coast and now start to build on the performances from last week.
What's a better bet? Julian Sayin, quarterback of Ohio State, 17-1. Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver, Ohio State, 10-1.
I think it's Jeremiah Smith because of the name recognition. We know that he's the best player in college football, right? Him and Ryan Williams, you just think about the 2 best wide receivers. If Sayin is putting up numbers, does Sayin have that marquee Arch Manning or Carson Beck or Thomas Castellanos or Pavia now? He's a forgotten thought. It would take a lot for Julian Sayin to really break through for the Heisman. But again, if he's putting up numbers and they're all going to Smith, I think it's Smith.
Big team wins in big environments with good quarterback play. That's how you improve your standing here in the Heisman Trophy race, Joe. Leading the clubhouse right now, that's Dante Moore of Oregon. Talking about his chances to close the door because he's 5-1 plus 950. But we know it's a week to week. You underperform, somebody else really performs, you're going to get knocked down. Dante Moore for you this year so far.
He's lived up to the hype. He's lived up to the expectation. He's done more than what I thought he would do at this point in the season, and you get a quality road win. But I think there's only one way to go, and that's behind. Right? They're 10.5-point home favorites over Indiana, depending upon how that game plays out. They have to play Washington at the end of the year. I just don't know if he's got that. Does Dante Moore have as much cachet as Dylan Gabriel had? That's my point. Like,
name recognition, right?
But I feel like people knew about Dylan Gabriel.
Yes, correct. You're right.
They don't know about Dante Moore's. They know about him now after that performance. But again, he's going to have to put up 300. I just don't know if he could do that every week.
I love you use the word name recognition because there is some name recognition today on Arch Manning. Coming into the season, Joe, let's just call it plus 650, plus 500, whatever it was, for him to win the Heisman. He was actually the favorite to do that. Now he sits today at 50-1. Season isn't over. Injuries happen. Teams play well. Teams play bad. Same thing with quarterbacks and statistics. Arch Manning today, 250-plus, accounts for 3 touchdowns. They pick up a victory against Florida. Is there any buyback choices here for you, Joe, on Arch Manning?
Absolutely, and I'll tell you why. You're getting the front runner that was basically 6-7-1 at the start of the year. He's 50-1 now, right? He's a forgotten thought. But what do we have? We have a recognizable game against Florida where he could throw for 250. It's not going to put him in the front running. But then all of a sudden you play Georgia. You play Vanderbilt if they're undefeated, right? You all then play John Mateer in Oklahoma if John Mateer's back. Another recognizable game. You start to put up 250 and 300-yard performances up against the schedule.
At that picture,
I mean, I look fantastic. Look at the shoulders.
Wow.
Look at the shoulders, Donnie.
They even made you as tall as Arch.
I mean, I'm wider than Arch.
I mean, hair looks better on
hair looks
AI.
fantastic.
Hair looks fantastic at that point right now. Come on.
Is it like?
I don't know.
Yeah?
They didn't send them back like when you typed in like ChatGPT, giving Joe Lisi like this is a trademark infringement right now.
That's it. Cease and desist.
Cease and desist. By the way, Joe, like talking about like Dante Moore and like the Arch Mannings of the world, talk to me about Ole Misses. Trinidad Chambliss. Like I'm telling you, I didn't really know who he was. Backup quarterback coming in, watching him, Joe. If I want to build a college quarterback, that's the guy I want to build. 3 bills in the air with a chance for 100 on the ground.
And he comes from Ferris State, so he's battle-tested. The kid
Love the kid.
It's almost like Diego Pavia coming from New Mexico State. He doesn't care, and all he does, he's going to give it 150%. What I love about Chambliss is, again, he's putting up 400 total yard performances against some of the better teams. Tulane, he did it, right? He did it against LSU. Can he maintain it? I think he can. I think Lane will give him every opportunity. But you got to beat teams like Alabama down the stretch. We'll see if they could do it.
By the way, Bo Prabula, Missouri, is 30-1.
No
should he be staying in Penn State instead of Drew Allar, Joe? That's what some are saying right now. That's what some are saying.
Yeah, definitely. Drew Allar right now, terrible.
By the way, you want to hit the speed burst button next here? We got a lot of games to get through, a lot of prop eggs to go. By the way, 20 minutes from kickoff today, Joe.
New show.
Get the people excited. We'll be right back at SportsGrid. It's how we do business.
Now let's get to a player who was taken in the first round of every fantasy football draft, and thus far, it's produced the least points, George. I thought you'd just take a rookie running back in the first round and you get yourself 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns. But Boise State's Ashton Jeanty for the Las Vegas Raiders, we got out of excuses, right? Like at this point, it's, they got to give him the ball more. They got to do this. They got to do that. George, does this guy look like Barry Sanders? Like, that was the comparisons? Like, I haven't seen any of that yet.
Our panicometer, it doesn't go high enough here. All right, because this is, come on, we're freaking out here. I don't think it's all Jeanty, by the way. He has more yards after contact than before contact. That pretty much lets you know what the problem is there. All right, the Raiders needed a running back, sure, but they need an offensive line. All right, they need a couple of offensive linemen. It's not something you can fix in one off season here. So yeah, we're gonna eat it with Jeanty. He's not gonna be worth the first round pick in fantasy. Just not this year. In future years we'll see here, but not this year. The offensive line is not very good. The defense is not very good, so they have to throw the ball more in the second because they're trailing every game. So that's hurting us as well here. So like I said, the panicometer. It doesn't go high enough for this, okay? I am more than concerned. I am not calm. I am critical. I am flipping out.
Isn't there going to be a time where he just breaks it free? George, like, what you said is not false. But I think there's a point being missed here. Why has he not broken free one time the whole season? Not once. To just run away. Like, he's Devin Singletary right now. No offense to Devin Singletary, but that's who he is.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Can you feel it? 15 minutes away from kickoff. The excitement is building here. It's early October. It's beautiful weather in the Northeast. And a lot of these games we're looking at, Joe, very good weather as well. Donnie Rightside, it's Joe Lisi. Look, are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I just don't like 80 degrees. I wish it was a crisp 40. Give me the pumpkin spice coffee.
That's a little bit of a difference, though.
I know.
I don't want 40 degrees
in October.
I don't want 40 degrees, though.
Come on.
We're not in Florida. You got to get the leaves to come down. You got to get like the 60s to the 50s. We can't just go right to the 40s here. But I'll tell you, who might be going right to the 40s on offense? That's a team total for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish today. All systems go. Notre Dame, 21.5-point favorite. 62.5 is the total. That offense is smoking.
So you're laying the 20. I'm taking the 21.5.
I thought you was taking.
No,
there you go.
You had the money ready for me, too, didn't you?
Smart enough.
I'm taking the 21.5 with Boise State. I do feel the under comes in. Now, a lot of people were on the under last week. Tempo for Arkansas just led to them just getting blown out. I think it's a different animal today. The way Boise State played against Penn State last year, I think they take a different approach. Run the football, keep Love, keep Price on the sidelines, and that hot quarterback, C.J. Carr. I think there's no doubt playing at home, Freeman and Notre Dame win, but I'll take the 3 touchdowns and a hook.
Keep it in the SEC here, Joe. Kentucky and Georgia. Are we just up with Stoops at this point? It's just going to be a life wreck Kentucky with no chance to actually win anything. When you take a look at teams like, hey, we're actually getting competitive football out of Vanderbilt here. 19.5 between the hedges. Georgia is a favorite over Kentucky, and a total of 49.5. Is it a big bounce back, or is it like, we're just still trying to get over last week and we eke this game out?
No, I think Georgia rolls. This is one of my better picks for the day. They've won 15 straight. The last 4 only by an average margin of victory of 16.7 points per game. But the last 4 games in Athens, they have rolled them. 26.3 points margin of victory. They rushed for over 200 yet again. They put up 6.7 yards per carry against Alabama. They should be able to hit a team that's 0-2 in the conference in Kentucky. The struggling freshman quarterback, bad matchup, coming off the 33 home game winning streak. They lost it. I think they got Georgia at just the worst time. I think Georgia rolls.
Joe, Huskies Super Bowl last week against Ohio State. Unbelievable atmosphere. Ohio State goes in there, wins that game. Now Washington has to lick its wounds and go 3,000 miles east to take on Maryland. They're a favorite, Joe. 5.5 points down from the opening number of 6.5 in a total of 52.5. Washington, Maryland today.
Yeah, my two favorites that I love are Georgia and I love Washington. And again, it's not a 12 o'clock kick, 3:30. Yeah. That helps a little bit. But again, I still like this offense with DeMond Williams. I don't like the fact that Maryland's coming out of a bye week with a freshman quarterback. I think that could be a detriment. I just think Washington, to me, is more physical. Offense and defensive lines. They were able to move the football against the best team in the country. They just struggled in red zone opportunities. I think that changes today. It might be close for a half. I think Washington blows them out by double digits.
Bill O'Brien, Mr. Narduzzi, lining it up here. Boston College and Pitt from Acrisure Stadium today, Joe. This line actually opened up as Pitt is a favorite 3.5. Now we're up close to 7, and we actually have a BetMGM -7 today, and a total of 55.5. Pittsburgh, BC, what do you got?
Yeah, so backup quarterback, Holstein's out. They got the backup in. Does that warrant 3.5, 4 points of movement? I don't believe so. Now, I believe Boston College has the better quarterback in Lonergan. They're averaging well over 280 passing yards per game. They've lost 3 straight. But I think Bill O'Brien's a much better head coach than Pat Narduzzi. And last year when Pitt lost against SMU, they lost 6 straight. I can't buy into the home team here. Give me Boston College plus the points and outright.
Can you buy into the home team here, Joe? Wisconsin going up against Michigan. This line opened up at -15.5. Now sits here at 17.5. Some 16.5s are still out there. A very low total, Joe. 41.5 was the opening number. It is up to 42.5. What are we looking at between the Wolverines and the Badgers today?
Yeah, I would say dead under. That's the only way Wisconsin could potentially cover this game. Danny O'Neal, I mean, could you give me 150 yards? Bryce Underwood is the real deal. He's putting up points. They're putting up, and dominating opponents at home. They should be 16.5, 17-point favorites. No Billy Edwards, starting center out for Wisconsin, but I keep going back to this. Luke Fickell got almost $11 million a year to turn around this program. Or elevated from Paul Christ. He's run this right into the ground and into the dirt. Step up and at least cover the number, Wisconsin. I'm taking the points with the Badgers.
Minnesota traveling to the Horseshoe here to take on Ohio State. Joe, this line opened up at -21.5. It's actually higher than that now, -23.5 at most outlets, but also a really low total of 42.5. That defense is electric for Ohio State. Are we rowing the boat to a cover or a blowout victory for OSU?
I want to, Donnie. I just can't. Every time I take Minnesota in this spot against Ohio State. Here's the thing. Do you realize Minnesota has lost? Now, they vacated a win back in 2010.
Yeah.
They have lost like 23 straight to Ohio State. I mean, it's incredible. They have been blitzed. It's been a long time since Minnesota. But they put up 31 points against Rutgers. You're telling me Ohio State can't get 30 against this team right now? I love the over 46, 42.5. I think we can get into the high 40s.
What if I would have told you Kaliak-Manis could be back there for Minnesota? Would you be fired up on the Gophers?
I tell you what I would do, because if you follow P.J. Fleck, they play toe-to-toe with Ohio State for a half, and just the way Washington did, and then the bottom gives out. See how they do. I would probably, if I'd taken Minnesota, first half total.
Hour number 1, we had Coach Bowden on. Love this game, Joe. Mississippi State, Texas A&M. The 14.5s, they're gone. You see the graphic at 15.5? They're gone. We're up to 17.5 at some outlets here for A&M and a total of 56.5, Joe.
What warrants the movement? It's a they're sucking you. Here's the thing. If I had to bet this game, and it's not on my card, it's not in any one of my bets today, I would bet Texas A&M. Why are they 15.5 points? They didn't cover against UTSA. They only covered as an underdog to Notre Dame. They're 1-3 ATS. Why is this going from 14.5 to 15.5? Especially when you had Miss State lose their first game, covering 7.5 against Tennessee last week. Blake Shapen and the offense are putting up 30 points per game. They dominated Arizona State. it doesn't warrant the movement. That's why I'd be nervous. I would probably lay it just because something's got to be up.
Are we throwing out tortillas in the next game, Joe? Not a home game for Texas Tech. They're on the road, but still in the state of Texas, taking on Houston. This line opened up under 10 points at 9.5. No longer. 12.5 and now 13.5, so close to 2-touchdown favorite for the road team. Texas Tech over Houston in a total, Joe. Actually dipped from 53.5 to 51.5.
Do you buy into that Texas Tech defense that held Utah? Was that an
fluke? Aberration?
Blue-collar team in Willie Fritz. They're 4-0. Connor Wegman in H-Town. I just think it's way too many points. Texas Tech might win, but I'll take the points with the Cougs.
I'll tell you who's winning. The people watching this show today. Getting the energy and enjoyment out of the SportsGrid Network and college football today. Donnie Rightside and Joe Lisi. We're roughly 10 minutes from kickoff. We're going to come back, put a nice bow on this, Joe. How about some best bets? How about some winners for the people before we send you off into the kickoff? We'll be right back.
Now let's get to a player who was taken in the first round of every fantasy football draft, and thus far, it's produced the least points, George. I mean, I thought you'd just take a rookie running back in the first round and you get yourself 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns. But Boise State's Ashton Genty for the Las Vegas Raiders, we got out of excuses, right? Like at this point, it's they got to give him the ball more. They got to do this. They got to do that. I mean, George, does this guy look like Barry Sanders? Like that was the comparisons? Like I haven't seen any of that yet.
Our panicometer, it doesn't go high enough here. All right, because I mean, come on, we're freaking out here. I don't think it's all Genty, by the way. He has more yards after contact than before contact. That pretty much lets you know what the problem is there. All right, the Raiders needed a running back, sure, but they need an offensive line. All right, they need a couple of offensive linemen. It's not something you can fix in one off season here. So yeah, we're gonna eat it with Genty. He's not gonna be worth the first round pick in fantasy. It's just not. Not this year. In future years, we'll see here, but not this year. The offensive line is not very good. The defense is not very good, so they have to throw the ball more in the second mix. They're trailing every game, so that's hurting us as well here. So, yeah, like I said, the panicometer, it doesn't go high enough for this, okay? I am more than concerned. I am not calm. I am critical. I am flipping out.
Isn't there going to be a time where he just breaks it free? George, like, what you said is not false. But I think there's a point being missed here. Why has he not broken free one time the whole season? Not once. To just run away. Like he's Devin Singletary right now. No offense to Devin Singletary, but that's who he is.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Hey, Joe, is this feast week right now? Like, you know, they have college basketball feast week around Thanksgiving. This is feast day for us today. Why? Because we're 5 minutes away from kickoff here on a Saturday, right here on the SportsGrid Network, and it's time to get down to the business once again. Miami, Florida State, showtime tonight in the ACC. A 4 to 4.5 point spread, depending on where you're shopping at right now, Joe. And a total that's increasing to 54.5 points, Joe. We're getting points down in Doak.
I'll root it in for you. I'm taking Florida State with the points, and I think they potentially could, snap Miami's win streak here and upset you. But I believe Castellanos is a better quarterback than Carson Beck. Carson Beck, I keep telling you, the road performances last year for Georgia, not good. Inconsistent first road start with the Hurricanes. And I just buy into the rushing attack of Florida State a little bit better. Yeah. We'll see how this game plays out. But again, rivalry game at home, I always like that home dog.
Miami is so good this year. But again, still in the back of your mind is like, well, how good can they actually be? Understanding the road to the college football playoff can still be achieved, Joe, if they lose this game. But the road to national credibility, you can't lose this game if you're Miami.
No, you can't. Especially,
you have to win.
Especially with Florida State losing to, at that time, unranked Virginia. That hurts, right? So now, just knowing, hey, we know that in college football, anybody could beat anybody on a given Saturday. But when you look at the body of work last year where you potentially had the best quarterback in the land and you went on the road for two particular games, Syracuse and Georgia Tech, and you walked out with a loss, and oh, by the way, you missed the college football playoff, that has to be in Mario Cristobal's head. This staff needs to step up and show it on the road.
Yep, they got to do it. Got to get it done. We'll watch that play out tonight. You know, let's watch it play out 3:30 p.m., which is usually the SEC game of the day. That's Vanderbilt and it's Alabama. 12.5-point number now across the board as a favorite for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and a total, Joe, of 56.5. I know you're looking at points in this game.
Yeah, we'll just give the stats. 40-1 straight up at home in Bryant-Denny's, dating back to Nick Saban in 2020 for the Alabama Crimson Tide. The only loss came to Quinn Ewers and Sarkisian 3 years ago, so they rarely lose at home. They won their home games last year by an average margin of 24.7 points per game. They are up this year. UL Monroe, 73-0, and they won by basically 24 against Wisconsin. So 48.5 points difference. That's why I think you're just seeing the line go from now 12.5, 10.5, and now back to 12.5. But I'll take a shot with the points. I like Vanderbilt, but I love the over. I don't see how this game, tempo-wise, gets under that total when you have Pavia, an offense averaging 49 points per game, and you have the hottest quarterback in college football right now, and Ty Simpson lighting it up. How do we stay under 56?
I like the over 2.5 touchdown passes there for Ty Simpson in this game. I do think we get points here. I think he's a big catalyst for that. And maybe one of those coming out parties where you saw him last week and gains that confidence where you're expecting 275 a week and multiple touchdown passes. Should be a fun game to watch it play out. Maybe not so fun on the scoreboard, depending on which way you're betting, Joe. Texas and Florida. This is a game that Arch Manning absolutely has to have. You want to talk about a legacy game? Well, Donnie, Florida's on 1-3 or whatever. It doesn't matter. He has to win. He has to look good in this game. He's got to get back in that Heisman race and show the Texas fan base he's worthy of maybe a national championship. This line opened up at 7.5 as a favorite towards Texas. We're down to 4.5. A game that's going to kick off at 3:30 today, Joe, with a low total of 42.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take the points just with Napier back against the wall. They need to win this game. They're at home. They're coming off a bye. You had 3 straight performances where your offense didn't step up. Now is the time for Florida to potentially cover the line. But 42.5, I keep going back. And I understand 2 top defenses. But this game had 66 total points last year, 49-17. How do we not get over 42.5? You need a better effort, Florida. You can't go 0-13 on third down conversions. And DJ Lagway needs to step up. He's only got 5 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. They have to light it up. But I like Wisner on the ground. I think he's the catalyst for Texas. But Arch Manning should have a field day today.
I got Lagway under today. I just do. I think he might throw a touchdown pass. Do I want to lay the minus 225 to do that? Probably not. I just don't see him being all that effective against a really good defense today. Lower scoring game possibility. We'll see how that one pans out, Joe. Some noon kickoff games that are coming up, by the way. Wisconsin and Michigan at 12 o'clock. Illinois and Purdue also at 12 o'clock. At least a couple top 20 teams there, Joe. Looking forward to any of those.
I would lay the wood with Illinois. We saw 9.5s in the market, knowing how they got a big physical win over USC. I think it continues against Purdue. I think Purdue's at a point now. Played very well, overexceeded expectations, covered some lines. But I think now as the Big Ten schedule goes on, they're going to start to wear down. I still think Illinois should be able to cover this line fairly easy. We saw Altmaier step up with a solid performance as well. I think it continues in West Lafayette.
How about a solid performance by Kent State today, Joe? What does solid mean for Kent State today? Getting 45.5 points.
You just want a tutty. I'll root it in for you. I hope you get it.
How do they get it, though? Is it like late in the game?
Return,
or is it like,
kickoff return.
We got 7-7.
Specials?
7-7?
Well,
Can we get first quarter?
Specials with Michael Hawkins? I might watch 2 seconds of that game tonight.
It's because you're going to be wrapped up in Boise State, Notre Dame, cheering on those Fighting Irish at this point right now. An awesome day across the board in college football. That's how we do it, Joe. 2 hours down, all the games you need, the prop bets that you need to get going here. SportsGrid Network, come on now.
That's it, baby. Georgia Bulldogs, they could roll today.
SportsGrid College Football today. That's another great show, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. each and every Saturday. The best part about it, Joe, we will see them once again next Saturday. Good luck on your wagers out there.
Ashton Genty, between yards and yards before contact and yards after contact, all these sorts of, they're giving him nothing. He is getting hit constantly behind the line of scrimmage, multiple yards behind the line of scrimmage, and frankly, at this point, I think he's essentially out of the race, and this is partly due to Emeka Buka having a great year, Tyler Warren putting up big numbers, Tet McMillan, I think, is maybe the most talented player overall in the rookie class.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The leader right now in the clubhouse in the odds market is Fernando Mendoza. College football purists, yep, absolutely know that guy. Fantastic. He's a great quarterback. Non-purists who are tuning in just for the biggest games, who is this guy, Joe, and how did he get here?
Well, he came from Cal. He's a mobile kid. He's big. He's about 6'3", about 220. He's a gutty kid and had a great performance for Kirk Signetti.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
We're in a weird place with Trevor Lawrence. This was another one of these quote-unquote can't-miss generational quarterback prospects, right? Everybody was salivating over when he was a freshman winning national championships. And here we are, about 5 years later, looking at ourselves going, is this just time for Trevor Lawrence to get a change of venue or something? Like, what's got to give here? Hopefully this Liam Cohen offense starts to come together.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Americans got to find answers in these partnerships, and I think they need to look at their who's making these decisions from a stat standpoint.
Well, it's so funny to me, especially coming off of the Walker Cup just a few weeks before, how it just seems like there's this glaring chasm between American partnered match play and American individual, singles match play.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.